Hello there, I'm over at Simon's Place, the guy you've probably seen in some of my past vlogs videos. The albino guy who's really into virtuality. I've, worked on a few stuff with him beforehand. And you might be wondering though, why am I obviously not inside a house? I'm outside. Well, that's because the fire alarm went off in his building, so I'm standing here where the light is not too shit, and I'm a bit further away from that really noisy fire alarm, which you might still be able to hear in the background. Anyway, I was just sort of passing by, thought I'd drop by and catch up with him before he flies off in his global jet-setting ways in his next project, and take a bit of a look at this new Nikon camera he has. Which is kind of, funny that I'm checking it out because he just got a new camera. Because just yesterday, I wanted to talk about the new news we found out from Nikon. Their rumored new mirrorless camera got announced, the Z6 and the Z7. Although apparently the official word from Nikon is you mean to pronounce it Z6 and Z7. Well, hey, I'm a Kiwi. So just like all Kiwis and like Canadians, I'm going to pronounce it as the Z6 and Z7. That's the way we do it. Anyway, so yeah, it's pretty exciting that Nikon has kind of had that failed half attempt to go mirrorless with their, their 1-inch sensors. But I mean, there are obviously probably various reasons why their 1-inch camera system failed. Not just perhaps the smaller sensor size didn't behave so well, because 1-inch is not that bad. I mean, like you look at the Sony RX 100 series of cameras, like they're okay. And but no, what actually really the failure was, they just didn't support it with like a proper series of lenses. Anyway, enough about that. Nikon has actually, as been rumored, has come back with a proper go at making, mirrorless full-frame cameras. And so they brought out the Z6 and Z7. And then just at the same time, my friend just bought the D850. So I was also saying to him, like, hey, Simon, do you know what just happened yesterday? He was like, what? And I kind of was joking with him that, oh, did you know that the Nikon D860 just got announced? He's like, no, you're shitting me, are you serious? Of course, I was having him on. There's no D860. So his D850 is still good, is like the best DSLR high-resolution camera that Nikon has. But the Z7 is kind of almost like a mirrorless equivalent. Although, of course, the main thing people are hating upon about the new mirrorless ones is that they only have two SD card slots. Sorry, one SD card slot instead of two SD card slots. Because pros kind of want that backup one. Although to be honest, Simon here only is using one of the SD card slots, which is, the SD card. He hasn't got the QXD card yet. So, he actually bought a CF card thinking it's like, oh, we need the bigger size, but no, the CF card just doesn't fit in here. You need a QXC card, and QXC cards are expensive. So I was suggesting to him, like, probably the good setup for him for what he should probably need is shoot RAW to the SD card, it's kind of affordable, but then just for backup and extreme emergencies, get like a small XQD card and shoot JPEGs to that card. So just in like worst case scenario, if something all goes to shit, it's kind of got that insurance back up. You can kind of pull something out with the JPEGs and XQD card without spending too much on buying the same really big 256 gig card. Because I looked at the price, 256 gig size, it's like $700 for one of those QC cards versus $200 for SD card. Anyway, I'm rambling on a bit. My point I was going to be making was, oh yeah, Reggie was struggling. I was helping him out to get the SD card working. It seems like he got sold like a gimpy SD card because it just was constantly giving a memory error, and I was trying out different things, like I was resetting the camera back to factory settings just in case you changed something. I noticed that the default slot setting was 62D instead of SD, so I changed the default slot setting to SD just because it wasn't smart enough to realize the camera that it should switch over. And when we're doing it like I think he got sold like a bad SD card. So I realized inside his laptop, he had a micro SD card inside a SD card adapter. I was like, hey, just try this other card. And now when I put in that card, the D850 works just fine. Anyway, rambling on. I want to make a few last points before I go about the Z6 and Z7, because people who are filmmakers like myself, particularly if you're in the sound department, you've got to keep on working with all these DSLRs and so forth. There are some exciting new things about the Z6 and Z7. So, I guess the biggest feature for any filmmaker is the fact that they are now doing 10-bit outputs. So there's no other camera on the planet that does full frame 10K output it's 10-bit output, unless you start paying, what, at least 30k American for the Canon C700 full frame. Oh no, wait, or the Kindfinity one. They just announced the Mavo large format like a few days ago. That one's like 12k American for their body. But anyway, you see the point. Like, if you want to get, you know, 10-bit full frame or RAW from a full frame VistaVision sensor, it is going to be really expensive. Well, Nikon is kind of the party and they're giving you that. And it's good timing too, because at the same time Nikon is bringing out their cameras, Atmos just brought out their brand new Ninja V video recorder, and that's only like $699 American, so it's really cheap. And the other feature I really like about it is that it's only a 5-inch monitor, which is like a good sensible size for, you know, if you're a camera operator, because 7 inches is just like, it's a bit awkward, but 5 inches is like the sweet spot I reckon for a camera operator. 7 inches and up, that's more like the right size for a monitor that, you know, a First AC should perhaps use rather than a camera operator. Anyway, and on to my final and last point, the really big thing that I'm really excited about is apparently Nikon says they are going to get timecode support feature in the Nikon Z6 and the Z7. So I'm like, wow, that is interesting, because as of right now, there are no still cameras in the world that support timecode jamming, with one exception, the Panasonic GH-S. And like, I was so excited when the GH-S got announced, and I realized, hey, finally we're getting a stills camera that actually properly supports timecode jamming, so you can attach, you know, my UltraSync 1 to it, or a Tentacle or whatever.
Crazy person!
Hey, well, that's Simon, speak of the devil. His camera I've stolen. Goodbye, guys. Anyway, we were saying. But the GH5S, unfortunately, has got issues, because you can attach a timecode box to it, you can select jam, and will then get the accurate timecode in the body, but it doesn't stay at that time. So you've got to keep on rejamming it. So that's just like such a bad implementation of timecode. I mean, you'd really hope like a firmware update might come out for the GH5S, but I know. I mean, bravo to Panasonic for at least having this feature and trying, but they fell a bit short. So I've got my fingers crossed here that maybe Nikon has actually implemented for the first time timecode in a stills camera body the right way. But we'll wait and find out more info about that. And for this, I'll end on that note, a hopeful upbeat, fingers crossed, and I'll catch you guys later.